Welcome, everybody. So excited to be here at 14 Minutes of Fame with Misty Henkel. This is our very, very first interview here, and we have the wonderful Rene Lofland from Resolute Social with us today. Rene, I've known you for quite some time. Well, I feel like I've known you forever. Probably I've only known you for a year. I don't even know how we ended up in the same group. I don't know.
It was in one of the networking things, and you asked me what I did, and I did your typical word vomit, and you just asked a clear question. I couldn't answer it, and then you invited me to, I think, sales class and business breakfast, and then it started from there.
Okay, well then there you go. That's how we met. We've been lifelong friends ever since. When I say lifelong, I'm 47. Clearly we've been friends for that long, and yet I think I met you last year. So, but that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
We catch up a lot. We collaborate on a lot of things. So Rene and I collaborate on a lot of things in that, oh, Rene, I have this problem. Hang on, let me run it by you. Or, Rene, I've got this good idea and I'm running it by you because I need you to agree with me. And she goes, yeah, but I would have anyway. So, but then she does the same thing.
From across the world too, because you're asking me like, are you up? I'm like, of course I'm up.
I do love that about you. Rene is a social media guru, and if anyone's to wear the crown, it would be you in that particular space. And but heavy's the head that wears the crown. It's like midnight for you, so I don't suggest it this late at night. But Rene works all through the night, whereas I get up early in the morning and then go through the day. So we actually end up on the perfect time zone together. If I lived in North Carolina with Rene, well, we'd never see each other, like ever. How funny is that? Although we will catch up for a real cup of coffee at some point. I don't know. You might know Rene from such social media posts as "Coffee is amazing," or "Have you had your coffee this morning?" or "Try and take my coffee off me and see what happens. You'll lose your arm," something like that. I have to say, I do love that about you, Rene, with your social media, and you're always talking about branding and getting your message out there. And Rene loves coffee, and then that became part of your branding a while back, to the point where I would say, now my husband, Simon, he loves coffee as well, and sometimes he roasts his own coffee beans. So he gets them in green and then he roasts them, and it's very cool because he has like a bread maker, and then he has a bucket, and he has a blowtorch gun from the hardware store, and some sort of sieve and a fan that sits underneath. And then he hooks it all up with wires to his computer. And no matter how many times he does this, he goes, "Don't talk to me for 20 minutes while I'm doing this because I've got to watch it." "Don't you know how to do this by now?" He's like, no, it's all about ambient temperature and this and that and everything else. It's very cool. And then he roasts coffee and he comes back, and so he knows all these different coffee things. He's had all the different machines. So when I see a coffee post, I think, oh, I must tell Simon. Oh, I must tell Rene. And then there's been times in the past, right, where I'll send this really cool coffee post to Rene, only to find it was Rene's post I sent back to her.
Naturally, yes.
So Rene, tell us, social media. How did you fall into this world of social media and being a social media manager and teacher of social media?
I've been in social media marketing since we sold skincare on Facebook when we weren't supposed to, from our personal pages. And during that, this is like 2012, 2013, like early, before there were business pages. And I started following gurus. I wanted to know more about how to do it. And after following them and getting more into what they did on social media, I liked that more than actually selling skincare on social media. So I kept following them, webinars, conferences, and then that evolved into, like, I kept that up. I was teaching at the time, so it was like a side gig kind of. And then during the last year of teaching, when I knew I was going to retire, I went through a digital marketing boot camp and realized, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And so I've had a passion for that. And I realized my niche was still social media. And then I started to take on clients and doing the work for them.
Right. Yeah, that's it's really exciting. It's interesting with network marketing, isn't it? Because the skincare would have been through network marketing, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And the amount of skills that you learn from having a network marketing business, which is basically a business in a box. Somebody's already come up with the products, and it's already been proven because it's been out for a long time. The prices are already set, and all you have to do is practice telling people that you sell it. Now, it's interesting as I go through all different network marketing aspects when I talk to different network marketers. And all the books will say it only takes 7 years to become a millionaire at network marketing. But it's generally not in the selling of the product. It's in the skills that you learn along the way. If you practice certain skills on purpose, or if you notice the skills that you pick up along the way. And I've discovered that with networking, Renee. I know networking originally was well, I didn't find networking until I was 35. And yet I've been a salesman since before I was 18. So from 18 to 35, I was in hospitality, I was in retail, and then I went to a business networking event. I've gone, oh, it's the secret to selling. Oh my God. I remember my very first Chamber of Commerce event. I thought, well, one is here you are in a room with people who are just interested in what it is that you do for a living. So they're interested in what you do, what you sell. And I thought, if I sold mattresses now, I could sell a mattress to every person in the room. I'd just come in and I'd say, so I sell mattresses to people who can't sleep well at night. And they'd just say this, what? It's because of my mattress? Probably. It is what I know when I was a mattress salesman. Most people hold their mattresses for what, 20 plus years. And they come in and say, I've got a sore back because my mattress is too soft. It's not. It's broken now. It's been 20 years. It just doesn't work like it used to. Right? So it's not that you need a hard mattress. You need a new mattress with springs that work functionally properly. So from there I've gone, wow, this whole networking place, like this is a secret to all selling. But what I've noticed over the years, because what I've been networking for over 12 years, I've run Business at Breakfast for 10 years, like I've been a volunteer over there for 10 years. And people initially used networking as, it was business professionals, accountants, financial planners, lawyers, and it would be a space where they would talk. But retail and hospitality didn't know anything about this at all. So when the business professionals went into network, they were, who's your client and what are you doing and what are you doing? And they would share business ideas. And I often go to different events and they'll say it's about, connecting yourself with people who are smarter than you so that you learn something, or connecting with people who have more of a network than you do so you can collect part of their network. And a section that gets missed a lot is called practice. Like in the world of sales, you have to practice saying what it is that you sell. Like I was looking at that book, Outliers, that says 10,000 hours to mastery. And then I was putting it in perspective of salesmen, with salesmen saying, but I'm not a salesman, or I'm not very good, or, I don't like it. But truthfully, to get 10 hours of mastery as a salesman, it doesn't take 10 years. It takes closer to 40, because the average person goes to work 8 hours a day. So even if a salesman goes to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 2,000 hours a year, right? Times that by 5, 10, even if it was 1,000, right? Half that, 20 hours where you're practicing your craft. So 4 hours a day, right? A salesman can go to work for 8 hours a day, let's say serve 10 people, 5 minutes each. I mean, it really is done in the first 5 minutes. Hi, how are you going? Or, hey, have you been in the store before? I mean, you've got to capture them in the first 5 minutes. And so they're not even practicing 1 hour of selling over the course of a day. And that's kind of a busy day. Doesn't matter what store it is. So you're averaging, let's say an hour a day. And I think that's being generous. So it's only 5 hours a week. That's 250 hours a year. It takes 40 years to obtain mastery. This guy named Darren Hardy, he's a business coach over in your neck of the woods, René. Darren Hardy does Darren Daily stuff. He's very cool. And he says in his books, he talks about productivity. And when he was a real estate agent, he had a guy come to lunch. Oh, no, a guy came out to teach all the real estate agents about being real estate agents. And he decided to take him to lunch. And he said, how do I do this? And he said, and he was like 20 years old. He said, how do I do this? And the guy said, the secret to sales is go out and fail big, fail fast. I said, fail? What do you mean? He goes, well, he said, think of sales like this. It's like a pendulum. The balls that go from one side to the other. Yeah. He said, you can't push it to success, but you can always push to failure. He said, but the more you fail on this side when you drop the ball, it'll show up in equal level on the other side, right? So he said, if you keep pushing failure, inside that failure, some success will come out. So he's decided to go out and fail as hard as he possibly can. So he gets out like a notebook and he writes 50 check boxes, and he decides during the day he will just knock on the door. Hi, how are you going? Wondering if you want to sell a house. Slam the door, tick that off, So he's looking for 50 ticks of no's, and then like between 5 and 7 at night when everyone's eating. I love that. If you make a phone call, just wondering if you want to sell your house, get 50 more ticks of no. And so he was doing all this to get failure. He said, but on the other side, he was looking at productivity. So he'd take a stopwatch with him and he'd go, how much time do I actually spend doing my job, which is talking to someone about selling their house? So he'd go up to a door, he'd knock on it, he'd wait for them to open. Hey, just wondering if you were selling the house. So just as soon as they open the door, he'd click the button, just wondering if you're looking to sell your house. No, click it off. Go to the next house, right? And he put in a crushing day. He said, it was like 12 hours. He said, you can ask anyone in my office, how much time does Darren spend working? And they're like, that guy's a machine, like 12, 14, 16 hours. He never stops. He said, I put in this crushing day. And he said, at the end of it, I looked at the stopwatch. Renee, you want to have a guess how much time was on his stopwatch just for knocking on doors?
An hour.
19 minutes and 54 seconds. Not even a third of an hour. So if you take that over sales, how much time do you get to practice selling? He had 19 minutes and 54 seconds. So let's say 20 minutes a day. And that's him physically knocking on 50 doors. But he's had less than 20 minutes. So let's say 20 minutes a day. That's only 1 hour and 40 minutes. Let's be generous. Let's give it 2 hours for the week. Times that by 50 weeks of the year. That's 100 hours. Holy cow. As a salesman, you'll never reach mastery just doing your job on sales, right? So I do say at the back of one of my books, I think it's this one here, How to Go From No Sales to Sales. Oh no, this one says products and services sell themselves. But in this one, I probably say it somewhere in this one, How to Go From No Sales to Sales. And it's this. Salesmen do practice selling. They just tend to practice with the customer, get it wrong, and then blame the customer. But, it's all in the practice. So where was I headed? Let's look at your network marketing, right? Business. It's the skills that you learn. I like that inside the skills of learning to sell something that you worked out another skill. And it's like, holy cow, this digital marketing, this is really cool. And I have a thing for it. And truthfully, most people don't, right?
No,
they hate it.
They absolutely hate it. Yes.
Yeah, they hate it. So tell me, Renee, very quickly, what bit do you love the most that people hate doing the most?
The production of their social media posting, and especially video. They hate the sound of their voice and what they look like. And so they don't want to get on at all to get their face on their social media. And that is my number one obstacle with my clients and with anybody who's asking about social media.
So do you end up teaching them how to do that and how to get comfortable with it? Or do you just teach them not to do it and you just do it for them, or you get somebody else to run a video post? How does it work?
So I have a couple strategies. One is to get them used to being on camera. And so I do a content cafe once a month where I record B-roll, which is like 7 to 10 seconds of them doing something like pouring coffee or writing in a notebook or talking to somebody. So they're in the frame, but they're not doing anything customer facing. So they can put words on the screen and kind of like they're hiding, but they're there. And so people stop the scroll. And then I also teach people to do video. And I have a video workshop coming up in October hosted by, and somebody else is in another aspect of marketing, so that we can get people doing video. So videos with their faces and videos with like other fun, trendy things, all in the idea of, hey, I've got 5 minutes. Let me make a video for social media. Or, hey, Sunday, I'm blocking out an hour to record 5 videos, and then they just get it done. like that. So video is like the number one thing. I'm trying to get people used to just being on it and using their phone as a camera and not thinking it's weird to record in public, because honestly, nobody cares anymore. It's so expected. But all these things, just trying to, like, the amount of exposure and the desensitization of the person who's like around 40 years old or over, that's like my biggest thing. Is it's clear they haven't done it or done it enough yet
Yeah.
to know what it feels like to rapidly re-record and like get over what they just did. Just do it again, no big deal. Like all of that. I am working so hard to get people my age to get on video.
So I discovered something pretty interesting about YouTube, because we're running YouTube experiments with my youngest, right? And in regards to the YouTube channel, how many different ways you can utilize YouTube. So there's private, you can upload things private, unlisted, or public for the world. And just even little ones. I've got videos that are on my phone that I've had when the boys were really little. They were doing cooking shows and things like that. And while I've got it on the computer as well, I don't want to take them off my phone, because I just like that it's there and I can go back and have a look. And then it's occurred to me, load it up to YouTube. Now, I have three choices. I can load it up as public so anyone can see it. I can do unlisted, or I can do private. So let's say I decide to do it as unlisted. I mean, I did public because, I don't care with my channel. I'm experimenting on everything. But for others, even just to utilize YouTube as put unlisted family videos up. So, hey, mom actually finally gets to be in a video, which you get to the end of your life and you realize your kids don't have any pictures or videos of you at all. But to load them up, even if you're just talking to someone, load them up, do it as unlisted, create it as a playlist, then give that playlist to somebody as a birthday present or to your kids so that then they know it. And then there it is. Like, I have something special for you, and it's videos, right? So I've been doing it, but leaving it public, then making playlists and then handing it off to different people. Because, I've got very eclectic YouTube, but then I can pull things out and say, oh, these are the things we did this year, almost like a newsletter, family newsletter. And then I just run that playlist off to someone, and then they can just sit there watching the different videos, and it's done. So but then interesting way to get used to being on the video, knowing that you're going to load it, but no one's going to see it. And then it could be just a message to your kid like, have a great day at school today, honey. I hope you enjoy your lunch. Done. Send that off as an unlisted, and now it's done, right? I have a girlfriend who, with school lunches, she makes their lunches. I mean, right up until they're 18, she makes their lunches, but she puts a note with their lunch in their lunchbox. So every time they open it up, there's a little note with all the kids like there. So they know when she's mad at them, oh, don't leave me a message today. I've done something wrong. So as they got older, they've gone, I've done something wrong, like truly upset mum. She just didn't send me a I love you, honey, have a great day message. And that's all that it might be. But a video could do exactly the same, because kids insist on carrying their phones everywhere, regardless of the rules. So, yeah, it's interesting, right?
And we're the ones who are slow to do that, because my daughter, who's 18, is constantly taking a picture of her face and sending a message to somebody on Snapchat. Like, it's just what they do. We're the ones who are like, oh no, I would never do that. And so and anything like that, I'm trying to get people used to seeing themselves and getting over that feeling of it's not good enough for some reason, and all the things. I have lots of retorts for them, but yes, they will do it.
Yeah, 100%. You've given me an idea of somebody that I need to get in and do an interview with. So her name is Jolly, and she did this picture for me, but she did a TED talk on in 2018, I think it was, on pretty much the photo to die by. So she takes what I call death photos, like, do you want an ordinary picture of you sitting there when you're dead, or do you want one where people go, wow? So like this one here, wow, that's your mum, she's stunning, and the boys go, oh, you get it, as opposed to, oh, that's your mum, oh yeah, that's nice. You don't get it. She was more than just nice, like, wow, she's beautiful. Ah, you get it. And it's a picture of what, like, the kids see in their heart of their mum. Yes, she was beautiful, but it's what the outside world sees. So, yeah, so she has this TED talk on collecting some good photos. But ultimately, it could all be run back into a couple of videos as well. Get used to doing a few videos because, you know, it's nice on the other side. Deal with that. Well, thank you, Renee, for being a first guest here today. Really enjoyed chatting to you. Could talk social media with you all day long. Probably talk other things too. One day, you and I, we should get on for 14 minutes and see if we can learn to juggle. Just because why not? How funny would that be? Video of it. Oh, this is a video.
Entertainment. Yeah. 10,000 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Renee, thanks so much for being my first guest. And it was great chatting to you and always good to catch up.
Yes. Thank you. It was
See you.
fun.